In Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or Philosopher's Stone in some jurisdictions, Harry, Ron, and Hermione ventured down to the trapdoor to prevent Voldemort from getting the stone. This was credited in preventing Voldemort from obtaining the stone, preventing his rise for another 3 years, and killing Quirrell. But what if the trio did not make their journey down the trapdoor? I am the Media Dunce, and I will explore the storyline of Harry Potter where they do not make their way to stop the Dark Lord. Let us first analyze the potential for Quirrell with Voldemort on the back of his head, just standing in front of the mirror. Currently, as it stands, the stone can only be acquired by someone who wanted to find the stone but not use it. Obviously, that didn't apply to Quirrell or Voldemort. But Voldemort, in the original continuity, knew to use Harry as he might have been the key to getting the stone. He even deduced where the stone ultimately appeared while looking at the mirror. I think Voldemort would have eventually had Quirrell uncover his turban like he does in the book and the movie, and take a look at the mirror himself. So, would Voldemort eventually be able to find the stone? I believe that given enough time, Voldemort would eventually be able to find the stone. He is almost as knowledgeable of magic as Dumbledore himself, and would eventually figure out how to break down Dumbledore's enchantments, just as Dumbledore would later break down Voldemort's cave enchantment in The Half-Blood Prince. I don't believe that a Fidelis charm would have been used. Otherwise, the stone would likely have never popped up at all, either in this scenario or in the original scenario. Voldemort would have deduced some of the enchantments Dumbledore left. He could then instruct Quirrell in how to undo those enchantments until he finally found the stone. This would be a time-consuming process that would have eventually allowed Voldemort to acquire the stone. But would they have the time? In the original continuity, Dumbledore arrived shortly after fighting broke out between Harry and Quirrell. As far as I could tell, Dumbledore's return from the Ministry was not influenced by Hermione's owl. Rather, he felt the need to return to Hogwarts and underneath the trapdoor. Therefore, I believe that Dumbledore would have made that journey in this alternate continuity as well. Bear in mind that Dumbledore had the stone removed from Gringotts the very morning Voldemort tried to rob it. This demonstrates that Dumbledore was consistently a step ahead of Voldemort, and thus would have arrived in the room around the same time he would have in the original continuity. This would happen while Voldemort is still probing Dumbledore's enchantments. When they found out Dumbledore is here, Quirrell would be caught red-headed rather than red-handed. Dumbledore would immediately advance onto Quirrell in an effort to find out what he was doing. Voldemort, I believe, would jump ship as soon as possible. The less exposure he had to Dumbledore in his current state, the better. The stone remains safe, and therefore the trio's journey proves needless. Worse, as Quirrell dies in the book/movie, whereas he could have been simply captured by Dumbledore in this plotline. So, the trio's journey was just like Katniss's journey in the Capitol to assassinate Snow. Needless, does not influence the larger outcome, and needlessly gets people killed. With that said, Dumbledore no longer has an excuse to dump a bunch of points onto Gryffindor. Slytherin still wins the House Cup.
Yes, well done, Slytherin, well done, Slytherin.
So, get a professor killed, and you too can win the House Cup. Great lesson, J.K. Rowling. As for Quirrell, I believe that he would be interrogated by Dumbledore in the hopes of gaining more insight on Voldemort, but I do not believe that he would gain significant intelligence on the Dark Lord. Quirrell would not know any of Voldemort's secrets, and would be promptly fired. However, I don't believe that Quirrell would be sent to Azkaban. Dumbledore just wouldn't have the evidence needed to lock him up. So what do those who do end up watching this video think? Given enough time, would Voldemort have eventually acquired the stone? Would Voldemort have fled the moment Dumbledore arrived? What would have happened to Quirrell if he was captured? Let me know in the comment section down below.